Members of the Fourth Estate, I want to thank very much our Attorney General for this discussion he has made about this draconian bill. But I know for sure that the public would like to interest itself in what should be the interest of the state in introducing such a draconian law. This draconian law originates from nobody else but President Museveni, the octogenarian who is so paranoid about the rest of life in his leadership. He's so paranoid that even when you cough, you are a threat to his stronghold on power. He's so paranoid. And this paranoia is related to what he regards that is fueling the livelihood of Ugandans. Museveni thinks that he's going to bankroll all Ugandans on classified expenditure. An expenditure for which accountability has never been given in the last 40 years of his tenure of office, where he must dispense Uganda's economy to individuals as he pleases. Today, when you have got an independent thought, an independent stature, it is so painful to him, and he would wonder how he would survive as an individual or as an organization. And Ugandans are used to a state whereby even when you have an illness, you will not go to Mulago Hospital and you would seek to go to India. Therefore, you will need to go and see him so that he clears your bill to go to a foreign country for treatment. Ugandans have gotten used to being given things free by the president. He has defined himself as the universal donor, where the majority of the people in Uganda are universal beggars. He has converted us into beggars, and for him, the sovereign, as the universal giver. Therefore, anybody who he thinks is rivaling him in the providence of Ugandan people should be fought. Ugandans, the majority of Ugandans are going to be defined as agents of a foreigner. Even Ugandans abroad are going to be defined as foreigners. Any other giver of assistance can be defined as a foreigner by a minister. Any kind of providence external to what Museveni has is an interference to his political tenure of office. And that is what defines his tools of control. He wants to control the livelihoods of all people, including religious leaders. Today, the Catholic Church, Church of Uganda, the Muslims are under threat by this proposal. Even his very party, the NRM, should be under threat. But because he's the sovereign, it doesn't cost him anything. Because Museveni himself is an agent of the Chinese, he's an agent of the Russians. He's a communist by training. But because he's the only sovereign in Uganda, it doesn't cost him a thing. The rest of you can be controlled. So, defining political organization or global values as foreign is also a misnomer. When we are talking about freedom, when we are talking about human rights, these are global values. When you are talking about peace, when you are talking about dialogue as values, these are global values that we share. You cannot talk about interfering with your politics simply because I have values different from yours. What are the values of NRM or Museveni as an individual? If at all he has any. Because the values are global and we share them, to him, propounding those values is an interference with his tenure. And that must be fought using the law. Unfortunately, Museveni uses parliament, people's voices. He should just pronounce a decree that this is the way I want to govern this country without anybody's voice from anywhere else. A decree, but using parliament in order to legislate his draconian ideas is akin to defilement. And that is why Ugandans must reject this bill. Museveni is so afraid when he sees the Kabaka of Uganda mobilizing his subjects. Kabaka of Uganda has instrument from USAID, UNAID, in order to fight against HIV and AIDS. In the last 10 years, the Kabaka of Uganda has been the sole voice against HIV and AIDS. President Museveni failed on that responsibility a long time ago. He doesn't even speak about it anymore. But remember, his voice was important at that time, which caused the HIV to reduce simply because of the ABC strategy. He left that long time ago and is concentrating on politics and to contain the country as an individual. So when he sees that other agencies, international agencies, are seeing some outstanding voices and using them in order to fight global issues, global diseases which have afflicted the globe, he is so paranoid. He's so afraid that those voices can transform into political voices. And that is why this law is coming. During the campaigns, the election, general campaigns, he arrested the priest. He arrested the priest and incarcerated that priest for a month because his account was fat. And therefore he was so afraid that this account could be facilitating some candidates, maybe opposed to him, maybe because of their faith and so on. And I don't know what has happened to that now. So that is what pleases him. If at all there are the Muslims would get a fund, or Ahmadiyya, or Alisun Wali Jamaah, whatever it is, that will be criminalized under this law. Even the Protestant church, the Adventists, the Pentecostals, you are in troubles, in big trouble. Because most of you have support from Pentecostal churches abroad, faith organizations, to pacify Ugandans and to counsel them, getting them close to God. So you are an agent. The unfortunate thing is that the person to define you as an agent is a minister. And where his definitions are going to come from the state. That is why this campaign must involve all of us. The fourth estate they have defined for you where your punishments are going to come from, including publishing stories which are true but are regarded by the sovereign, who is Museveni, as being sabotaged. So everybody must get engaged. Everybody must act. Everybody must rise. The churches must rise. The mosques must rise. The religious leaders must rise. The media must rise. Political leaders must rise so that we fight against this draconian law. It is the worst thing that has ever happened. And President Museveni must be embarrassed and must be told off so that he withdraws his proposal. This is his brainchild, nobody else. He wants to militarize the ministry Ministry of Internal Affairs. Yes, Kaido Tafile is the Minister for Internal Affairs who does not believe in this kind of faith. But he knows that if at all he creates a paramilitary group within the Ministry of Internal Affairs under Peace and Security, then he has a stronghold within the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So no matter who you are, as a minister, you can be Minister of Internal Affairs who doesn't believe in that. As long as he has a group, a paramilitary group within called Peace and Security Department, that one will be enough for him to exercise his draconian tendencies on Uganda. Ugandans must rise up against this. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much.